I think that there is a grand tapestry that we're all woven into. And I think that we're meant to connect with certain people at certain times. Like you said a moment ago, people come into our lives. Andrey, you have a wonderful girlfriend that just came into your life, and she could not have come in at a different time. She would never fit in at a different time. And she came in at the perfect moment to transform everything.
Were you trusting life?
I 100% trusted God at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 100%. It was a beautiful spiritual experience and everything played out in such a way that I could simply not pretend it wasn't intended.
Mm-hmm.
It was so random.
The breadcrumbs were so
perfect.
big, you could not ignore them.
Yeah, and the probability of that was approximating zero, right? Really closely approximating zero. And when as I saw that all play out, I kind of had an internal little experience, going to God and saying, "Is this real?" And he goes, "Well, do you want it to be real?" And I'm like, "Touche." Right? He just throws these things right back at you, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to teach us how to trust and how to be and how to believe and how to be in touch with these gifts he's giving us through these vibrations, through these improbable circumstances, through the gifts, but also through the challenges, right? And he's trying to get us to learn how to trust that inner thing that he's placed within us, which is our soul, our spirit, whatever, but also his presence in the world, which is omnipresent. So for me, that was very much are you ready to take ownership of this and stop screwing around? Or do you need another round on the carousel before you're ready to come back to this point? And this is the time I stepped off and I said, no, I'm going to let go. I'm going to trust. I'm going to be very honest, and I'm going to do my damn best. And so far, it led me to wonderful places and made me overcome some interesting challenges.
Yeah, that's a cool image of a merry-go-round. I could definitely see that. Whenever people speak, I always see pictures in my mind.
Nice.
And I could see you on the merry-go-round. I think we've all been there before. And by the way, I want to go right back to your explanation of the twofold.
Oh, yeah.
I just get to place in one more seed in the garden here. I wonder if it's because just naturally we have such a tender soul. It's like especially for a woman's heart is like a rose. So if you trample on it, it can damage the petals. But men, we have feminine energy inside of us as well. And I think that's not talked about enough, right? Earlier you said that pity can kill men, which I agree. And the paradox of that is that we also get to learn how to love the sweetness and the feminineness inside of us. So it's a catch-22. It's a paradox at times, because it's almost like the Goldilocks story, not too hot, not too cold, not too much, not too little. What is that Goldilocks after you answer the second phase of the question?
Oh, yeah. So
there's a Goldilocks there for us.
Oh, yeah. The first phase of the question was, why do people resonate? In the Eastern traditions, and many of them, the body and the soul often are disconnected. Not disconnected, but they're separate pieces, right? One fits into the other. In the Western traditions, and most people don't realize the Christian faiths have this, the Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church, it's that your body is a manifestation of your spirit. So your body resonates exactly with your spirit. That is it's not the vessel of your spirit. It is your spirit. It just happens to be the material form of your spirit. They're one and the same. There is no division. So why are we resonating in that capacity? And then why do we resonate with others who are? I think that one method is to look at our biochemistry in our brain, because it identifies what our spirit is doing at the same time. Our brain chemicals, our serotonin levels, which we now know are not just randomly low for some people. They're low for lifestyle reasons. They're low for dietary reasons. They're low for relational reasons, especially. People don't realize how much loneliness is causing so many problems. But our bodies reflect what our spirit is doing. So I think by measuring our bodies, we can actually measure our spirit as well. So I think that aspect, we resonate with certain people who match in many ways what our body and spirit are experiencing. And then we are woven into the tapestry together at that moment.
What's the tapestry though? Like what even is it?
Think at the dawn of human creation, every human who has ever lived and everything that they've experienced, every bit of wisdom or knowledge that's been transmitted, pieces that for now have been lost that will be rediscovered, pieces that have gone underground that will be pulled out. But the lineage, the unbroken lineage, we have this idea that some bloodlines are better than others, but all bloodlines exist, whether there's a name to them or not. Yeah. Every bloodline ties all the way back to the dawn of humanity. Whatever dawn you want to look at, we all tie back. And it's fascinating to see that tapestry of human lives play out again and again, not just, What are these individuals doing? But what is humanity as a whole achieving? What are they learning? What are they growing? What is the story of humanity?
Dude, one of that resonates with me. Y'all resonate. And why it resonates is because I heard this from many different people, and I can't give credit to who said it because I don't know who said it. But this is borrowed wisdom, and I think most wisdom is borrowed. It's just articulated with different life experience. We are a living library. So not just on a neurochemical perspective, a biological perspective, there's also this generational, like you said, everything that's ever been spoken, the initial words. In the beginning was the word. I mean, like everything since the dawn of human species and even way before still exists energetically in the world. Just like, you know, the law of thermodynamics, right? And the law of matter and all these laws that we know about. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed or transmuted. So there is something to be said about that, this tapestry. And right now, y'all, I think the tapestry is unfucking folding. I think the creator economy and what you do with Veritas and how you're getting people to get back to themselves so they can fend away all the bullshit of society's clutches. I think it's all that basket, that woven tapestry. Well, actually, tapestry is more like a wall rug, isn't it? It's unraveling, but I say good. And I wonder how you guys express this.
So let's even update the imagery for modern day people who don't know what a tapestry is anymore, because we don't even have those. Let's say that
it's a cool word.
It is. Let's say that humanity is a cluster of data nodes that exist independently, but in a woven network where everyone is supposed to be connected into all these different networks. From the dawn of time, there were data nodes. Some go dark. Other data nodes are created. They weave out, and it's this endless existence of data nodes, and all of them are trying to solve one core problem, which is existence, and all the small problems that spread from existence. And we are meant to transmit that information. We are meant to cross-check it. We are meant to continuously change and grow and improve. And there's breakages in those. Different countries split off and won't speak to each other.
Yeah.
But sometimes they filter around through allied neighbors, right? Right now we're having a crisis of attachment where parents aren't even transmitting to children, but maybe those children are transmitting back through grandparents, or they're learning through the internet from 100 years ago, right? We've reached a point where we've actually woven that collective into the internet. It's literally a manifestation, a physical manifestation of the spiritual data node collection of humanity. The internet is that as well, or a knowledge receptacle. So we are endless data nodes continuously solving problems forever until we've solved all of them, if we ever do. That's what I see is that network of humans, right? And that's what we're fostering. So yes, there is breakages. Yes, there's gaps. Yes, right now, 35% of people have secure connection with their parents. And in the newest generation, 65% have broken attachment with their parents, which is a massive gap in transmission of knowledge and connection. But what we've seen time and again throughout human history is when you have those giant collapses, the data nodes over here are still functioning. Maybe over in Australia, they're functioning. Maybe over in India, they're functioning. They're functioning in different capacities. And then the data nodes can weave back together again and fill those gaps and self-correct. They can cross-check and say, did we get this wrong? Did we get this wrong? And I think we're in a massive correction right now because we have so many factions of data nodes that they're now cross-checking. We've got people fighting over their different rules, everything, right? You know, these people have factioned off so bad that they've both created separate false equations. And now they're going to fight over whose is right unless they link back into the full collective and we can all correct together. Sometimes war is the data nodes factioning, but we correct, we grow, and then we bring it in and we solve the next problem. That's what I think is happening.
So I'm going to add a little bit of color to this. So what has changed recently, and this is an unprecedented change. That's why I do agree with you with the idea that this tapestry is actually unfolded. Before it was folded. In order for you to go through the tapestry, you had to go around in circles for your entire life to find truth. You had to go to libraries. You had to go to universities. You had to fly to
hike up a mountain and see a guru with a white cape.
Correct,
in India.
Right. You actually had to apply this tremendous amount of effort, and you could never really compile enough information in yourself to create rapid change because the critical mass wasn't there. However, what has now changed is that we, have the capacity to have truly free time because almost everybody has now free time where they're not fighting for survival, where they're not fighting for provision. They actually have hours in their day, which they can spend in any way they want. Not sure if they want to be, playing football, watching video games, whatever. Playing video games doesn't matter.
Hopefully not.
Well, many of them do, right? But then also now you have the ability to transform your life every day. Every day you have the opportunity to go search, find, and apply something you've learned online from creators like yourself, like Adam, that will give you such tremendous transformation that the collateral effect throughout the rest of your life will be phenomenal. And we now finally have the capability to seek out and apply knowledge at scale. This is what the unfurling of the tapestry means, is what we finally have gotten access to it. And that is why that curation we're talking about earlier is so important, because we as humanity are very quickly trying to curate what it is exactly that we want.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know what we want, we ain't going to get it, are we?
It's so true. And there's, right after I share, I want to bring it back to you when it's like creating our own reality. We've heard that phrase a lot in spiritual growth.
Sure.
And I think it gets misconstrued and really, honestly, at times abused, because people that may have improper intentions, their come from isn't pure. They could preach all day long that, thought creates reality and you can create your own reality. But I wonder how you guys feel about this. I know in my own life, when I've been wounded, when I've been hurt, when I've learned lessons through hardship, like real hardship. I remember 2014, I split up with a woman I thought I was going to marry. I put my mom in a mental home for bipolar, and I was $80K in debt, and I got fired from a corporate job that was safe, which there is no such thing. We create our own safety. All of these things transpired, and here we are 9.5 years later at this table, and I've reached like 13 million people plus, right? So it's like, and it's going to keep going, not because I give a shit about being famous, but because it was birthed through my own hardship. The way that I looked at my tapestry unfolding, or the way that I viewed my hardship, was that I just trust that I'm going to get the dream that I know is possible. I had that inner resolve, and it was almost like a choice point that happened. And it was a moment with God in 2015 when I launched this podcast, where I didn't know if I wanted to be on earth anymore. I wasn't contemplating suicide per se, but I literally was just ready to like go be homeless and sleep on a couch if my life was supposed to be a slave and automaton to someone else's dream. I just didn't want to fucking do it anymore. And it wasn't until I connected with God and just trusted, just for a moment, because I'd had so much anger about God in my life. Like, God, why couldn't you fix my mom? Where was my dad? Why are people so angry? Why is money so scarce? I was raised on welfare. My story is just a fragment of many stories in the nodes you're talking about. But I had to really understand, like, my anger at God came from my confusion about how to trust life, and I was never given the blueprint on how to trust life. So I created my reality from pain. I wonder, do we always have to create our reality from pain? It seems like it's the case. 600 plus episodes, I haven't had somebody say no. I liked your model of sometimes we experience pain at different levels. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder, like, do we always have to experience pain in order to grow? Is that fundamentally how the creator wanted it to be at the start?
That's why we're born with pain receptors, is so that we will change. The average life expectancy for kids who are born without pain receptors is 15 years, because most of them die. So we have to have pain. It's fundamental. We formed this idea that pain is bad. We form this idea that pain is bad. It's scary and it hurts, but we form this idea that all pain is going to kill us. And that's wrong. Pain, it can make you grow. It can do a number of things, right? There's no reason to be afraid of it. It can suck, but then you say, what will I do about this? Pain demands a response. What will your response be? The reason pain is scary is we say, what if I can't respond? What if I don't know how to respond? You simply respond. And you do whatever you're going to do, and then you respond again and again, and you continue growing until you gain control of the situation and you make your choice. And that right there is when we start defining our own reality. I was speaking a couple of years back with a member of the intelligence community. I won't say his name because it was under confidentiality, but he told me something very, very crucial. He said, in any given situation, there are 100 facts, okay? Humans are able to approximate and handle about 20 of those. We can't really understand the full 100 range of facts. Media will usually give us about 10 facts on this side, and the other side will use a different 10 facts, and then they'll argue over those facts and say, these are mine, yeah, but these are mine. And then we get that political division. But the smartest people maybe can handle 30. That's what defining your own reality is which 20 or 30 will I choose to hold on to and prioritize and adapt to out of the 100 in any given circumstance. So then we define ourselves by that. So you can focus on, my back hurts, I'm tired, I'm not as handsome as I wish I could be, my hair doesn't look great, my dog is ugly. You could focus on these negative of those 100, or you can focus on, I have control here, I can make this change, I have this time today, I have all of these things I can accomplish, I will do this. So it's not even inventing reality like we're just going to go out there and pretend that unicorns exist and they leprechauns ride them. We're not doing that. We're saying these are the facts I will choose to build my reality around, and then I will grow. And that's what you've done.
Mm. So pain gives us something to stand against, right? It creates and it launches this mechanism of, the warrior, the defender, the protector, the activist in many different ways. You having experienced pain, you have gone through transformation and you got a result. And I'm willing to bet that what happened was that when you started this podcast, you said, I never want anybody else to feel this pain ever again. I'm going to go out, I'm going to serve and do my part in helping to make sure that this pain does not have to conquer the world in your understanding.
It was definitely part of some of the motivation.
Yeah. And it is a major part of most of the motivations. Now, you said you've never on your 600 episodes ever had anybody come in who actually did not believe that pain is instrumental in shaping us.
Yeah.
But that's why, because you guys are actually looking in the wrong data pool for those people. So those people actually do not start podcasts. They do not become content creators. They do not become activists. A mother who is raising 3, 4, 5 happy children on a farm is not driven by pain. She's simply existing in the blessed world that God has made for her, and she's trying to support and develop within it. She doesn't need to be on a podcast. A guy who is perfectly happy being a shepherd in the mountains of Spain. He doesn't need to seek this out. He has no stories like this to tell. His stories are of good things, and he is sufficiently satisfied by telling them to himself. People who have experienced things are the people who come out and try to do something about it, right? That's why you guys don't find them. They exist, but they're very rare because they are truly gems that God has placed in this world, and they have actually taken very good care of protecting that, as opposed to, trying to pursue pleasures and sins, as we call them, and many other things. And they exist in the world to prove the fact that it's possible, but unfortunately or fortunately, it is not the road that we, as all creators or people active in the space, have chosen to travel. It just wasn't our part of the tapestry.
If you love that video, you'll love the one on the screen right now. Click the one on the screen and enjoy.